My apologies, folks, for those of you who missed out on the first laps of Q3. Beatnik, you may have to re-include your audio again. With that being said, we're back for
Oh, good.
the rest of Q3. Thank you, Invade, for the invites. I'm really appreciative for that you're looking out for the commentators. Always am. So I'm happy to see that. Beatnik, I'll let you know if audio is included in just a moment, but give us the rundown through the first laps of qualifying with what has happened.
So, first of all, test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3. Second of all, Bunkers
Yep,
P1,
good.
27-0. Centric second, he's on a flying lap. Polo has retired in the pit, so he's done.
Oh,
Centric second, Alex Bear third, Owen fourth, Tadpole fifth, Gecko sixth, Polo seventh, he's out. JNT eighth, and then Hunted and Lennon have not set a lap. They are ninth and 10th.
the good thing is I've joined back just in time for those final flying laps.
Okay, well, 3 minutes
So,
left in the session, so very lucky
yeah,
there.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. That's nice.
And
So,
Centrix, 2 tenths up already in one sector. He is flying, and at this rate, it's going to be a 27-1. But I know there's time to find in that Red Bull, because Bonkers is first, with 27 flat. Sorry.
no, you're good. I get it. That Red Bull is fast, and Cookie has showed how fast it really could be with some people in it. And Centrix is getting help from Cookie, and maybe this is what they need. You know what? In all honesty, not to give many discredit, but they didn't win last season up until round 5, and they were just short of that Constructors' Championship. Now, as he's improving by 3 tenths on for pole, they have a really good chance to win earlier than last season, round 4. And right now, heading into this race, they're 5th in the Constructors and looking to win a round earlier with a longer season. Centrix crosses the line in his debut to go provisional pole!
There it
Faster
is.
than the Tier 1 pull time!
There it is, 26-8. And I don't know what the conditions were in qualifying for Tier 1, but mighty impressive there from Centrix. He's on pole, and he's faster than Cryptic.
I think they were quite similar. How about the guy who has a pole so far this season, Owen? We've had 3 different pole sitters in 3 races, 3 different teams on pole, Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari, Stenner, Hunted, Owen, and now it's time to find out if Owen is going to be the driver who repeats pole position, or if it's Hunted, or if it's someone brand new like Centrix in a debut, or Bunkers, who's been on pole before but trying to steal one away. Owen now through the first sector. 1:45 remaining in this session, so if you're not out on track right now, you're likely not getting a lap in. With that being said, Polo God has retired. He's only going to be a best of 7th. Lennon and Hunted, no laps for them, but they have to find some time and find a way if they want to be ahead of Polo God. Now, Owen coming through the first sector. 6 tenths down on Centrix. 2 tenths down, or sorry, 200ths down in the first sector. So he's lost time, but he has still half a track remaining to find this time. And Boss Cookie is... Oh, wow! He's got the Alfa Romeo of... That is J&T getting in his way. We saw J&T get in the way of someone at Qatar last season, and it affected them, and he was shocked he didn't get a qualifying ban for that, but this one might result in a qualifying ban. We'll see how much it's affected Owen as he comes through now, the end of Sector 2. That was treacherous.
That was dangerous there by JNT. Putting my Merc bias aside, that could have ended a lot worse. But Owen's still 2 tenths up, though. May not have affected him as much as we thought it did. I clipped it for safety. As through the Casio triangle comes Owen, and out of the final corner he goes, trying to stick to that inside line, and he will go 3rd fastest. So he cannot
doesn't
beat
seem like
Bonkers.
Doesn't seem like he'd get another chance at one, but it does seem like that he was affected maybe a couple hundredths by it. Bonkers and J&T now coming through the start laps. We've got a Red Bull coming across the line of Bonkers, the last one to start a lap. Now we get to the drivers who are coming across the line to go for a provisional pole and see who will be where. Gecko is one who's been impressive the last 2 weeks. He's going to be impressive once more with P4. How about that for him? Tadpole and Hunted, the next 2. Hunted crossing the line, 1 pole already. Make it 2nd row alongside another champion of this tier. Now we have Ferrari. Ferrari of Alex Bear. P5. Not enough. And off is Tadpole.
And he is out of this qualifying session. Struggled. Owen joins him in the kitty litter there. Who's next to come across? It's going to be JNT
JNT.
as he leaves the
Yeah.
hairpin. Might
Checkered
be
flag
in a
for
bit of
Lennon.
trouble.
Also
Could
as
be in
well.
trouble.
Not
We
good.
don't know. Here he comes through Spoon. You take it away here, Ryan. Last part of the track.
All right. Yeah, we'll do. I mean, I just want to mention before J&T comes through the sector that Boss Cookie said he races with Centrix in a different league, checkered flag for him, and about 4 to 5 tenths off of him. And he said he knew he'd cook. Well, J&T's cooking through the second sector, although he could be facing penalties. He's got 6 tenths up on the time, and likely his target right here will be Polo God in Alpine, and it realistically should be, considering what car J&T is in and what Gecko has done. Now J&T comes through the sector split and comes to the line. It is going to be 8th fastest, but can Bonkers take pole away from his teammate? He crosses the line now to take pole by 6 thousandths. Bonkers makes it a Red Bull 1-2, and that is it for qualifying. Red Bull at a podium are gonna see pole position and a 1-2 with it.
Impressive stuff from Team
Wow.
Red Bull today. Bunkers by 6 milliseconds, taking pole position. That one will be remembered in the history books. Not the closest we've ever seen. We've seen dead ties before. I believe it was in Canada a number of seasons back. But in the end,
Yes.
Red Bull versus Red Bull, 6 thousandths apart. Great stuff to see. And the championship leader, Owen, hanging in there in P3.
Season 7, it was both Ferraris tied for pole position. And season 11 in Japan, it's both Red Bulls separated by 6 thousandths at the top of the board. And we have a 4th different pole sitter on the season and a 4th different team. Bonkers leads Centrix off the line once we get things going. We got Owen P3 for Mercedes, Hunted P4 for McLaren, P5 for Alex Bear, Gecko a nice impressive qualifying P6, Tadpole P7, J&T P8, Polo God P9, and Lennon did not get to settle lap but is still P10. So just like Tier 1, it is 2 guys within the 26s, everyone else in the 27s. So your strategy for today's race, you'll be expecting drivers to do either mediums, hards, soft hards, or the revert strategy. And we will see a pit stop lost time of 21.5 seconds and ERS gained back in the pits of 26%. So some vital facts and stats for our drivers in today's race that they will maybe need to know. Formation lap, or not, sorry, no formation lap. Break time about to get underway. One question I want to ask you, since you are the Merck Academy team principal, is Merck Academy as a whole and Mercedes as a whole, what's your expectations for the season and this tier?
We're looking really strong this season. I mean, we led the Constructors' Championship for, well, a whole one race, but so did we last season. Owen's doing fantastic right now, and I love to see it, and I want to see Valk bring in the same sort of performances that Owen's bringing in. And if that is the case, I think we can genuinely win this Constructors' Championship. Sure, Red Bull have been whipped into shape, as Cookie says in the chat, but is it too little too late for them? As you said, have yet to score a podium, have yet to win. They're 5th in the Constructors. Have they waited too long to find this form? So Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, this season's big 3 are a little bit far ahead, but if Red Bull can continue these performances week in, week out, they might still win with a shot. But in the terms of my academy, Aston Martin have been shocking to start, but I think we could see them improve. So, and Williams, they just got to keep doing their thing. They've always been the shithousing car, and Zaxi's done a good job this season, and he's been very impressive in that machine. So, I think we've had ups and a lot of downs so far this season, and it's only been 4 weeks. But
Yeah.
we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, for sure. We'll find out what happens in the rundown to turn 1. Always an interesting start. We've seen real life starts get hectic, and we're going to find out if this one is going to be hectic too. 27 laps ahead of the drivers here tonight for this event. It's the first one in the year 2024 in RPL. So, what strategy do you want to go if you're a driver? Fix your fuel. Maybe make last minute adjustments to some parts of the setup you can. And once that gets done, we'll get underway. I don't know what the long holdup is.
Strat The clear strat is wet hards, easy.
Yeah, clearly.
So, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about with this medium hard shenanigans.
Well,
I mean,
maybe it's like that for Cookie with what he put in the main chat the other night, but that's about it.
or just
We're not gonna
be
speak of
that
that.
guy and Inner's on a dry track, man.
Hey, that's you. What's the hold up here? Why are we waiting so long? We don't usually wait this long. Oh,
Here we
here
go.
It's
5
time
minutes.
for the first time in 2024 for RPL to kick off this event. And for the first time this year, we're lights out and away we go. Alex Bear's got a drive-through already, and he's going to take the lead over both Red Bulls and be in the way of them. So it's Bonkers who gets the clear action over Owen. Side by side for second place. It's Centrix having it back out, losing a place, but Hunted takes over fifth place now. Gecko, Tadpole, and they all follow about single file up till the Ferrari of Lennon, who's lost places and maybe not in the session being ghosted, but so far all the way to the back of the
Spain in
grid.
back. It's Minions.
Just about to say it looks clean so far, but it looks to be Minions the only one around, and now Lennon losing more places from the ghost car of his, and Hunted losing places especially from a little slide there at turn number 8. And Gecko gonna go for it! Gecko gonna go for it around the outside line the long way around. He's gonna try around the outside of the Red Bull of Centrix, making his debut, but he can't get the move done.
That was hards versus mediums there. Hards on Gecko, mediums on Centrix. At the moment, Bonkers net P1 with Alex Bear's drive-through. Not how he wanted to start the new year, Alex Bear. And which essentially will mean Ferrari's going to be 19th and 18th. Essentially, or 18th and 19th, or
Yeah.
18th and 20th. This is a shocking
true.
start to the year.
And now, Bonkers wants the lead over Alex Bear before Alex Bear has to serve the drive-through. Alex Bear going to still hold the inside line, clips the curb. Going to be a little bit of a blockage for Owen, but it's Bonkers who is going to lead lap 1 on pure pace, and it would have been net P1 still, but now they race their way to turn number 1 with 4 cars, all in a little bit of a train, 5/10 between one another, but they're single file still. Further back, looks to be side by side almost between both AlphaTauris. Got both Haas's drilling it out. L74G coming into the session late. Probably going to be disqualified because he's a tier 1 driver. Just helping the attendance, it looks like, tonight. Maybe didn't mean to be put in a car, but now we look at the positions gained from lap 1. Obviously, Alex Bear's gained with that drive-through, but without that drive-through, you still have Centrix who'd lose places, Hunted who'd lose places, Gecko would gain places, and Zatsy would too. The big gainers look to be from the back of the grid. Valk for Mercedes making this return to the team a very wealthy one. Blue Goggy for AlphaTauri. And he's going to have a move from Wavy, who's also gained places down the inside, and they touched, and that is Goggy.
Off Goggy.
Yeah,
And he let him through,
not
though.
good.
He let him through. I think he'll get away with it because he let him through,
Yeah.
but he went for a bit of a clumsy move going into the hairpin, and it just was not on for him. So, shame there, but as you're saying, Wavy and I up 4 places. He is the biggest winner of them all as Goggy goes past Invade.
Yeah, they got a little battle back there, but now does Alex Bear serve the drive through this lap, or does he wait one more and serve it at the very last minute? Owen will still be net P2, and he's on the back of him, looking to get past now so he can chase after Bonkers. Here he goes. Bonkers leads the lap. Owen on the inside. You can see further in the background, it was Valk and Polo God trading spots, but now trading spots for P2 is Owen. Owen now up a place. So, further back in the grid, 3-car race here, turn 1. Both Aston Martins. AlphaTauri, Blue Goggy. Down the inside once again is Wavy. He's trying to make this pass a little more cleaner, but it's Blue Goggy hanging on to the action. These two have a little bit of history, though, from F2. So they surely have that in the back of their mind, that they don't like to race each other. And that probably was the case there at the hairpin. But luckily, Wavy was the nice gentleman there and let him back through.
Oh, car off the track. Mythic ate some of the kitty litter out of turn 7, I think that is, but he luckily saved it. It was a nice save there by Mythic. Or I don't know if it was Mythic or Luke, one of them. But I was going to say, as I believe J&T and Tadpole side by side, quite the trolley train going on with Goggy, 13th on back, all in one big train. And
yeah, exactly.
other trains as well. Like, sorry.
Yeah, I think you were going to say J&T in them too, because
Yep,
they're
that's
forming
exactly
up
what I was
something
gonna
really.
say.
as well. Tadpole didn't look like he wanted to leave Zatsy the space, but he
There
knew
it
if he
goes.
did, he'd have to go down the
139.
inside of J&T, and their 3 cars all over one another. Outside line for Tadpole. He makes contact with J&T. Zatsy's in on the action. Zatsy has a peek around the outside, but can't do it. Alex Bear finally serves the drive-through.
3-car battle becomes 4 as Valk joins the party. Zatsy, feeling ambitious, 2 for 1 in the turn 1. Can he do it on the McLaren? They're still side by side. This is Tadpole trying to hold the outside. So close to touching, and Tadpole barely holds out of the place as Valk, feeling brave, and Invade is out of the race.
Safety car. Safety car is out for that action for Invade, who's been the first retirement of this race. That's going to help Alex Bear, who just had the drive-through. Now it's Shanghai having a penalty for a collision, but Zatsy, how about him intercepting both of those places, it looked like right there. And with that said, Valk as well in the Merc return. Up on the grid, very good to see. She's gained 6 places, and this is exactly what is expected of her. Safety car out for Invade crashing out. We don't know what happened, but we're going to find out what happened.
Yeah, but I'm going to be, considering Shanghai's 5-second penalty, I'm immediately taking to the Academy chat what happened. So, we'll see what happened. Not going to jump to conclusions just yet.
Yeah, we don't like people that jump to conclusions.
Oh, well, I love
like I do all the time.
Very fun.
On here. It's fun.
So, big winners, as you said. Valk up 6 places to P8. Zatsy, pretty big winner in the Williams, running in 7th, up 4 spots, having a lovely, lovely day.
Yeah, I will say, as I'm assuming no one really pits here, you have Gecko on the hards and Polo on the hards as well, but the only people likely going to pit here is anyone who got damage, and Tadpole does. Okay.
Early stop.
Interesting.
It's going to be you have the statistics, but
I do.
Getting hards to the end is going to be a stretch.
He can only do this if either he has a VSC or uses these safety car laps to perfection, because if it gets green under lap 7 onwards, he could get the rest of the way. Is it tricky? Yes. Is it going to mean your tires are shot? Probably. But, yeah, we saw, I think it was Annex who pitted early during the Tier 1 race. And although we got to the end on those tires, which was close to 20 laps, which is the most you can go until about a puncture is reasonable, maybe a little bit before then, he ended up losing a lot of pace in those final laps, and he was battling Reese, who was and ended up finishing on the podium. But with Annex, though, provisionally before being banned from the league, he was like P6 in that train up until the final lap, until penalties and stuff like that were added for people, and fuel was a concern for many at the end of that race. So the difference between that race and this race, though, is 1 VSC for that race, already 1 safety car for this race. So for anyone who felt like they underfueled, they have a really good chance of making it to the end now. But the only guys on hards who pitted there were Tadpole, Wavy, Alex Bear, and the rest of those guys, Mythic, Minions, and Shanghai, all went to different tires, 2 for mediums and 1 for softs. So we had a safety car here last time in Season 9 in this race, 2 of them at least, in fact. I think there was maybe 3, I'm not sure. It was at least 2 or 3. Had someone crash out from the lead. We had a surprising pole from Depth Knights, AMS Knights, in an Aston Martin. And the Aston Martin safety car leads the pack here as we're under halt for this race, Beatnik.
All right, so what happened was, according to Invade, Goggy spun Wavy, and he couldn't react. And when I looked in the pits, Wavy was getting a front wing change, so yeah. I do believe that checks out.
Wavy's just asked Goggy about, was that potential retaliation?
I don't think it was. I think it was just circumstantial
know.
Death, as Mythic hits. He was on a set of softs for some reason. I assume he's going to be going for hard tires here, as Haas's double stack, and Alex Bear joins them as he pits for mediums.
Both them on mediums, and Mythic on
Wavy
hards.
claims that Goggy retaliated, but we need to see what Goggy says.
From what Wavy said, Goggy hit him and spun him, then Invade hit Wavy. Shanghai got 5 seconds for no reason. Gotcha. Okay, so that's from ACL right there in the chat. Yeah, Myth Minions has not raced here in a while. ACL's not raced here in a little bit. Good to see you all returning to the chat for the first time in 2024. For those of you wondering why there's a second stream compared to the first one, well, it's because my Wi-Fi wanted to have a brief cutout. Unfortunate that the stream has to be cut into 2 parts. But you know what? The good thing, though, is even with that being said, I still can put content to the video together quite well with 2 streams for YouTube. That's for you guys to figure out on the YouTube channel with content to the video. What that is you'll see on each video, you'll see a section that says either Introduction, Q1, Q2, Q3, maybe Restart if there was one. L74G is spun under the safety car. You have Race and Conclusion. So the stream is split up into a couple of segments. Therefore, if you want to skip through, you can, and it's easier to do so, especially if you're on PC or your phone. A little harder to do if you're watching YouTube on your Xbox or Roku. But either way, I think we're going to get a safety car in this lap here, Beatnik.
Better. Alex Bear has problems, and I don't have him added, so that's a problem.
Well, he's through Xbox, so you can get him back in.
I'll try to get him in. I'll try.
Yeah, do that.
I'll take over for do the thing. You restart.
Yes, we'll do that. So, Bonkers controls the pace here. And if you remember, last season, he was the one to get a podium here in a Haas. Minions got a podium in a McLaren. And Owen won the race for Red Bull. He's now going to have to chase after the Red Bull. Owen is from 2nd place. We're back underway. And I think we have issues between Shanghai and Alex Bear trading spots because he did lag out. But now... Yeah, in on the action already is Zatsy in 2nd place, already being challenged. That Centrix are on the outside. He can't make the move stick, but Zatsy is going to stick on the inside. They collide in front of him. It's the Red Bull and Centrix around. Hunted tagged him, and now Centrix outside the points.
And Shanghai gets another BS 5-second penalty. The poor lad. And my goodness, 2 big front runners have sent themselves out of the points. Well, one of them, Hunted P10, Centrix all the way back in 18th, and he didn't pit. All the other cars around him did pit, so this is not going to be easy for Centrix to come back, but considering that pace in the Red Bull, it should be possible. But how about this top 5? Bonkers P1, Owen P2, Gecko for Alfa Romeo P3, Williams, Heritage, Zatsy in 4th place, and Valk, after starting towards the back, climbing up to 5th place. Fantastic start for those 2. And JNT in 6th as well. Alfa Romeo having a fantastic start to this race.
Well, with that being said, now with what has happened, the door has been wide open. I know that Wavy and Tadpole trading spots, and now Hunted trying to regain some spots. Oh, we have 3 cars about to go 3 wide. This could get dangerous. Hold on, I'll get my surprise moment after this, because this could be a big surprise if they keep it. The AlphaTauri is off the road, but the AlphaTauri rejoins back on behind Hunted. Minions goes through on both of them, taking the place. And Hunted also through on Goggy. Little stack up now at the triangle. But now the other McLaren of Tadpole is on the action. The highest driver on those hard tires who has pitted already. Here is Tadpole on the inside line for turn 1 and Blue Goggy. Hunt is going to have to force Goggy to back out by the lack of straight line speed. And now Wavy takes Goggy as well. So my surprise that I was talking about besides that battle of them going wheel to wheel was the fact that you have, down the order, Hunted from that collision, Centrix from that collision. Lennon is not in a session. Same with Alex Bear now. And Tadpole pitted. And now, this provides the door wide open. We got a Williams P5, both Alfa Romeos in the top 6, both Alpines in the top 9, AlphaTauri back in the points to try to score for the first time in over a season in Tier 2, and Valk from back of the grid here, I'll say. I say back of the grid because it's outside the top 13, and eliminated in Q1 technically is Kipu. There's a little issue there that's caused Minions to overtake. This is really perfect scenario for Valk to return to Mercedes to try to score a podium, a 2nd podium at that in Tier 2.
On course for it, but she's gonna have to get past Gecko, who has been absolutely rapid all weekend here, running 3rd, and he's on the preferred strategy with those hard tires. And not only is he on that strategy, he's keeping in touch with Owen as well. 2.5 seconds. It's looking good for him as Alex Bear, who's rejoined again, gets past Shanghai, and JNT getting past Zatsy as well. And the 2 Alpines also going wheel to wheel, Minions and Polo God. And speaking of minions, he started pretty much dead last as well, up to 7th. Lots of comeback
Yeah,
stories
exactly.
today.
Very good driver of the day performances early on. Tadpole, a little bit of a screen freeze maybe has put him inside of Wavy. He's ghosted inside of him, but because of the
18.
speed through the S section, Tadpole gets through.
Well, every time that you and I stream, we have a Peggy 18 moment with cars going inside each other. If they go side by side, my goodness, that was close.
Oh.
Spinner in the back,
Safety
it's
car.
Luke.
Or VSC.
And VSC, rip. And that was caused by Luke having a bit of a moment, and he's got no front wing either.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone ran into him or not. I'll be a little vocal of it for myself. He's the league owner. He shouldn't be racing Tier 2. I get the respect from him. Maybe he was accidentally in a car. I don't know. But it's happened with him and Jack racing Tier 2 when they're in Tier 1 before. And some people have complained about it. Nothing's really been done about it. But they've not raced as often recently. So that's nice. It'd be nice to see good attendance like this with a full grid if it were all 20 Tier 2 drivers. But we have 19. Oh, drive-through. We have 19 Tier 2 and 1 Tier 1 driver in here. So I just find it a little off because we know at the end if it was Luke or Jack, they'd be disqualified from the results after. So they finished P10. The guy in P11 gets it. I don't really find it fair.
I get it. As this VSC should be coming in eventually soon, and there it goes. So no other drive-throughs apart from Luke being funny as Hunted pits. He is the first of the guys who didn't pit on that safety car to bring it in.
Well, Hunted, you said in the pit lane. Let's see what happens now. Leader is Bonkers. 5th place up for grabs. 5th is currently J&T. 6th is Minions. Minions wants it. J&T is trying to protect it. And they have a train that goes all the way back to 8th with Polo God and some moves being made further behind that. I think that involved maybe Alex Bear, who continues to lag out and not find his way back in the
Here
session.
comes
But
Minions! Contact!
Wow! Off
goes
is J&T!
I caught that at the very end. Well, actually, I caught pretty much all of that. That will be clipped. And oh my goodness, Minions. That could be a penalty. Stuck his nose in a place he shouldn't have stuck it in. And my goodness, not what he wanted there.
Props to J&T for, trying to re-enter safely. I think he did a good job of re-entering safely. He won't get a penalty for that or get reported for it. Alex Bear back in the session, and as he comes back in for like the 3rd time, he goes ahead of Kipu.
Oh, track limits there. Just went wide through the middle of Spoon. That will be a warning. I know this game all too well. Speaking of warnings, while you commentate this race, I will have a look and see who's got what.
Well, don't end up having that screen freeze that some people end up having when you go to the race director. Luke with a penalty, 3 seconds to his name. Blue Goggy is under threat here into the triangle corner in the chicane. He's got Shanghai, who's putting up some pressure. Mythic in the background just waiting to pounce. And then soon behind that, J&T, who spun earlier, wanting to claw his way back up to the field. And the 2 ex-teammates, Polo God and Zatsy, could try to go side by side. Tadpole took advantage of that just as Zatsy was just going to close the door and didn't do so. Zatsy overtaken by 2 cars there in 1.
Only 1 car in the top 5 with warnings, and it's Minions with 2. One of those could have been for the collision with JNT, though. So, not 100% sure, but and I'm too lazy to go actually look. So, being wary of screen freezes here. Right now, 1-2, Bonkers and Owen pulling away from Gecko, who's at 4.4 seconds behind Mr. Mercedes man, who's on a PC. Didn't even realize that. Valk P4 got Minions for company. Could be in trouble, though. We don't know. Pella got 6th. Decent recovery, or not even recovery, just a good race for him.
Alex
on his
Bear
return.
on Zatsy. Zatsy's already been overtaken by 2 cars in the span of 18 corners. Now in the span of 18 corners, make it 3. Wow.
Well, only so much you can do in the Williams. I don't think his target was to get that many points, as side-by-side between 2 of the Alpine Academy guys, Tadpole and Minions. Wait, Minions? Yeah, no, is that... Oh, you know what? I'm dead. And Peggy 18 once again.
Well, here we go. Tadpole, is he going to come out ahead of Alex Bear? Is he going to ghost outside of Alex Bear? Alex Bear's looking to make the move on Polo God and trying to get through. About 3 wide. Tadpole goes past Alex Bear, and Polo got it once. Wavy also, with Kippu and Cintrix, a 3-car race into turn 1 allows Wavy to take the place, and now Tadpole again.
2 cars inside of each other again.
I don't know why he keeps having these screen freezes. He's talked about it not too long ago before the winter break, and I don't know if it's lag that's causing him to have it, but it looks like it's at least either that or screen freezes, but really unfortunate because we can't tell where he's at, and again it happens with his teammate.
Before the race started, his GPU's at 100% right now, 100% capacity. That could be why. Car off, it's JNT, and a full course safety car. This will change things drastically.
Goggy's had a second collision. He's been involved in that as well. He's got a missing end plate. JNT is the one who's been most affected by it. Safety car is out. L74G's out.
And another left session for Mr. Alex Bear. Not what he needs. I'll invite him back. Hopefully he can get back in before his car probably decides not to pit, because AI are stupid in this game, and I can tell you from experience.
A little more than just that.
Gecko he might be in a bit of trouble here. With the timing of this safety car, he has to pit. There's no way he can't not pit here. Which means
he can make it the rest of the way. He can,
but
it's going to be
left.
Right, that's what I was going to say. So that's the tricky part for these drivers. Minions has hit the pit lane wall while sliding and locking up, trying not to run into Valk. He may have to repair some wing damage, but he doesn't.
Nope,
so if there was any, it was lime green.
For him.
Yeah.
And
if there was
jumps
any,
Valk as well.
Didn't do it in time.
He jumped Valk in the pits, so Valk will lose P4.
Alpine as well.
There was that.
Red Bull 2. A lot of guys.
The whole field, effectively, as Luke decides to call it quits. He's out, so 2 DNFs on the day. Invade had an incident early with, he was a passenger in an incident between 2 guys that already have history with each other, Wavy Knife and Blue Goggy. And he was the first DNF, and Luke retiring in the pits. So his race is done as well. Safety car out. Top 3, Bonkers, Owen, Gecko.
Well, let's see what happens. And Minion says he messed up his wing. So there's an answer on that.
We might be seeing Minions return to the pits here. I don't think he will, but we'll see.
I knew he had something with it. I saw it on board. He was about to speed. He's lucky he didn't. And Alpine, who won the first race of Tier 2 in 2023, have a car P4 right now, but they're going to have to rely on Polo God for points after Minions maybe comes back in to the pit lane. So, just a little recap on some teams right now who may be struggling or whatever the case is. We've got 1 Ferrari in the points, 1 Ferrari out of the points. The last time they didn't score points, round 10 of Season 9, Italy. Las Vegas, round 9 of Season 9, was the last time McLaren didn't score points. They've had struggles with both cars, but they're still in the points. Red Bull have scored points for 29 races in a row, and they've got both cars really competitive again today, as Cookie says earlier in the day, that they were using the 2015 Red Bull. Yeah, okay. We'll see if that was true, but
more like the 2005 Red Bull.
Maybe. They did have some struggles to not have a podium this season so far, but if the safety car comes in, it'll be a late one. I doubt it will. So we'll keep going over some action and some of the stuff that needs to be known.
And in comes Minions. He's going to fix the damage. Yep. Shame for him. He's going to... Oh, Tadpole's out because he left the session.
Oh my god, it's retired his car on the track because of a lag out. That is unbelievable. The winner last week gets screwed this week.
Oh my goodness. I feel so fucking bad for that man. He told me that he was having screen freeze issues and he's going to leave to fix them because his GPU is running at max capacity. And once he left, he's out. He is out of this race. And he's not going to be happy.
The game lords did not want him to leave. I'll tell you that.
Oh, my poor guy.
What a messed up game. Now, yeah. I will say, something we need to note before we go over the future races this weekend for the 5 of you still watching. We had 14 at one point on, but Surprised with that one. Two guys on softs, Zatsy and Minions. Minions a little more likely to make it to the end. With these safety car laps, it's helping them get to the end, but their tires are only going to be competitive for a good 9 or less laps. So Gecko leaves now, but with Zatsy on softs, Minions on softs, they'll be lights out once the safety car, goes into the pits. But when you get to the end of the race, can they make it? You're toward puncture territory. Safety car helps. It'll be a concern,
Who else left?
but you're not going to be competitive for the last 4 or 5 laps, though. That's for sure.
Who else left? You said someone else did?
Yeah, it was Gecko.
Okay, I'll get him in.
All right, sounds good.
Never mind.
Future races this weekend and next week for Tier 2, if you guys are looking to tune in. We've got Tier 2 next week at Singapore for round 5 of the season. Can't wait to go back there again for the second time since the reprofiled track. Baku in F1 tomorrow, round 4 of the season, and round 3 of Formula Endurance at Portugal. A track we don't really race that often anymore, but we'll race that later in the F1 season. Safety cars in this time. Beatnik, how about you take us away? 2 of the top 3 on hards, Gecko on mediums, Polo God on mediums, and Zatsy P8 on the softs. Let's see what happens here on the safety car restart.
Unsure about that soft strap by Zatsy, but you never know. So Bonkers will lead us to the green flag. He's going to leave as late as he can. Owen hanging in his trails. And there goes Bonkers. Green flag back in the air. They're almost 4 wide in the background. And the top 2 staying the same. The top 4 staying the same. 3 wide. Here comes Zatsy. He gets ahead of the Red Bull. And now he's trying to get past Polo God as well.
Yep, they jockeyed out to the field. They're now single file to the S section. Penalty for Polo God, ignoring the yellow flag. That must have been with Hunted as he gets past Alex Bear now, who still is not back in this session properly. Surprised the game has not ended up retiring his car, but Kipu to the points for AlphaTauri, something they graciously need. Now, the top 2 runners within 2/10 of one another. So now, with that safety car restart done, we've got to fight for the lead. And now we've got to fight as well, considering Gecko back in the session and on medium tires. He should be good to make it the rest of the way. And now they go to the hairpin where they were all stacked up. They got to be careful, side by side with the Ferrari of Mythic and Alex Bear. Sorry, swap those cars. Haas of Mythic, Ferrari of Alex Bear. Contact made, a little bit of a late dive. Lennon also getting overtaken right there as well. Lots of battling going on, but looks to be clean for the most part in this restart.
Battling as far as the eyes can see right now. At the moment, 3 cars, as you would say, under a blanket right now, between Bonkers, Owen, and Gecko. Gecko just trying to hold on. It's actually down the inside of 130R. My goodness. P5 for the Williams man, but that's a long way to go on soft tires, and I don't know if those will get to the end.
It's a risk. If he's getting a puncture, it's coming in the last couple laps. But now for the race lead, Owen's going to chase after Bonkers. Does he have the look into turn number 1? No. But he sneaks back in behind, trying to save a bit more battery. Centrix gets Polo God. Hunted also takes the place over Wavy and no overtakes from the bottom 4 cars in the field, but they all still are really close, and that's for a chance at points. Even though there's still 17 runners left, something's still gonna happen. You got those 2 soft runners, you got some guys with penalties facing their way due to collisions. Polo God has 1 from the game. We'll see if he appeals it, so a lot could still happen.
And this train goes from P1 all the way back to Alex Bear in P11, so This anyone really has a chance right now, as Bonkers slowly starting to build a gap with Owen up to 8/10 now, trying to build it up to a second, but Gecko trying to hold it close as Centrix does get past Zatsy's Williams, which Red Bull versus Williams, you'd expect that one, but Zatsy still hanging in there, but he's got no ERS left compared to the 40% of Centrix.
Zatsy's doing a good job on these soft tires for Williams to be up there. He's held his own quite well in this race. He's trying to score points 2 weeks in a row, but he's going to have a lot of threatening behind him. Gecko doing good for Alfa Romeo, and that recovery drive for the Red Bull of Centrix is really on now. With that being said, got crashed by Hunted earlier in the first half, and now in the second half, he's gained almost 10 places from that. So he was outside the points. Now he's got a chance. Some fastest laps being set. DRS being enabled. Back of the grid here. Minions and Mythic. Also 3-car race down to turn 1. Jaden T. Shanghai and Goggy. Yikes. Well, they figured it out. They're now single file. But I want to get back to the lead because I think we're really getting something on our hands here between Bonkers and Owen. Owen better on the battery by 20%. Bonkers leading the charge, though, and Gecko using that battery in between them on the battery, but he is on better tires, so he should be able to maximize all he can to hold on to this podium, and now under threat for P4 is Valk for Mercedes in that return.
Mercedes versus Red Bull in that fight. Centrix, I mean, throughout the weekend, of course, we didn't see what Valk could really do in the Merc, only having one single qualifying lap before the incident with Invade.
Impressive.
And oh, here we go. Here comes Centrix down the inside into Spoon Curve. Easy does it for the Red Bull driver. And I think Valk is just going to try to hold on to that Red Bull's gearbox. And maybe, just maybe, Centrix can tow Valk into the podium.
Yeah, this is exactly where Valk should be. I mean, she's not as fast as Owen. She knows that. She knows she's got a little bit of inconsistencies and stuff to work on as Minions gets through on Kipu. But compared to the teammate running P2, battling the other Red Bull right now, this is a good performance from Valk, considering what happened in qualifying.
Owen. Here we go.
Here he goes for the race lead. He's going to pull on the inside, pulls out, takes the race lead. Owen now in front of Bonkers with just less than 10 laps remaining.
Easy DRS pass there for Owen. That is about as easy as it's going to
come. Oh, Wavy! Down the inside of Hunted. I thought he was going to keep it, but he couldn't. He was trying to protect Alex Bear and still go for the move. But that's for P9. Sorry to cut in. That was a ballsy one right there from the Aston Martin driver. But looking good in that return to Aston.
Shocking line from the S's. Sorry to cut in on you, but...
You're good.
Shocking line of the S's by Wavy, but he's gonna keep his run going, hold into the DRS of Hunted, and he'll try again on the next lap. Meanwhile, look at this top three. Gecko still hanging in there, and Centrix trying to close that gap with Falcon, Zatsy, and I guess Polo got in tow as well.
Minions also trading places with Alex Bear there in the upper edge of the points, but I want to keep on the top three cars because Bonkers and Owen still at it, and Gecko for Alfa Romeo, who's been impressive the last 4 races in RPL in Tier 2, is now shaping up something that has not been done this game for Alfa Romeo, a podium finish for them. They have a best finish of either P4 or P5. They're trying to get more than that with Gecko running P3, but remember, if he wants to hold on, he may need to take a place from one of these top guys, and Bonkers struggling out of the triangle section has Gecko all over the gearbox, battery being used to try to protect that run from Gecko, and Gecko right now would be holding on to the podium for Alfa Romeo, their first of this game cycle for Tier 2. They have one from Baku last season with Jack in Tier 1, but as Polo God overtakes Zatsy, they don't have one in Tier 2.
And on the Zatsy thing, he's got no ERS. Those softs are most likely fading as Kipu gets past Alex Bear. Oh, they're still side by side. My goodness. Side by side through the S's. Alex Bear just holding on to it. Some good driving there by those two. And but back to Zatsy. Those softs are fading. He's got no battery. It's not looking good for him if he wants to hold on to these points.
The thing is, he should be able to hold on to these points now with Hunted behind him getting a penalty. That's his goal. Hold on to points or hold on to P11. Be somewhere within that gap to where you know you had a chance even if you went onto the wrong strategy. We'll find out what happens with just a couple more times until we get to 5 laps remaining. And now the top 3 have kind of broke away. Centrix slowly gaining, pulling Valk along, but now she's out of DRS.
Valk just lost DRS. Yep, she's out of DRS range. She's gonna battery. Uses a touch of battery, but and then Val.
She's got more battery than Centrix though. So this
Centrix is not in a good spot battery-wise. You're right.
Yeah, but I mean, like Cookie said, about to gain some tenths here, and already got past Valk. Let's see what happens. I mean, it's a 1.9 gap, 1.7 here. I mean, Centrix is really cooking up a late charge here to the top 3.
Kipu and Alex Bear once again going wheel to wheel through the Casio triangle. And around the outside goes Alex Bear, and he's got DRS for comfort, so he should be able to hold on to the place for a little bit longer as GNT and Mythic, 2 Academy teammates going wheel to wheel, Wavy Knife and Hunted going wheel to wheel as well, and off the truck goes Hunted, and Wavy Knife takes the place.
Remember, Hunted collided with Centrix earlier, so if Zatsy is worried about losing out to just a 3-second penalty, you know, there's other things Zatsy could gain out on, but got to hold off Minions for now. Minions, another one of those runners on the soft tires, losing a little bit of time there through the end of the S's was Hunted, but still remaining quite well in that train. Kipu, Alex, Bear, and J&T, their first 3 outside the points, battling it out in that last train we've got with Mythic catching up. Now for this lead with just about 7 laps remaining. You know, Centrix has gained 2/10. If you're Gecko, do you push to get past one of these guys and interfere in order to hold on to this podium, or are you happy with a P4 finish thinking that's the best you could do?
Well, at the moment, Owen and Bonkers are doing so much better. Wavy gets a penalty. They're doing so much better on ERS than Gecko is. He's down to 19, and both of Owen and Bonkers are in the high 40s, low 50s.
Ooh.
So this is not looking good, as Alex Bear also in the penalty box. Not looking good for Gecko, and honestly, not looking good for Centrix either, also having ERS struggles.
Bonkers with DRS, but not close enough to make the move for the race lead. He still has a chance, but these guys, Owen and Bonkers, they were racing past Mythic and others to get the race win last season. Now they're doing it in the top cars, as you're right. Behind that, Minions and Wavy making places, and Alex Bear's off! Alex Bear's using the runoff, and now is in no man's land using the curb to come back on just in front of the Academy teammate, and they almost come to collision. Same with Blue Goggy as well, it goes through.
Oh, shocking there. Polo!
Polo, no!
He
Oh.
spun it! No! Voice crack.
Wow. Polo God was having a good run in his return, but at one of his least favorite tracks, he has found the runoff.
Bear's out. Oh,
and Alex Bear's found the runoff and out of this race.
That could be...
That's the game.
That might be... He might be in trouble for that. He retired on track.
That's either him lagging out or the game. Yeah, there's a good chance he did retire on track. You're right about that. Gecko now trying to pull a charge at Bonkers. He's got a couple laps before Centrix gets up to DRS right here. 1.3 is the gap. Now, DRS on the main straight for both these guys behind Owen as Alex Bear's joined back. So, that may be the game. So, the top three.
His retired car. Rip.
Here we go.
Yeah, you're right. Here we go. Gecko, this is the closest he's been yet. But look at the battery difference. 63 to 17.
Finally, he's better than Owen by a decent charge. Gecko as well, no battery for him. Centrix below 10%. Valk holding her own nicely in P5, especially if something happens to any of these top three. She'd be on for a second podium in Tier 2. And she's not had any points since Round 8 Singapore. What a lovely return of Mercedes for her as J&T gets past Kipu. A nice little race into Turn 2 right here. They're now single file once again.
Decent little move there by J&T. Kipu, he's had a pretty quiet day in the AlphaTauri, just sitting on the edge of the points, and look at how close they are to ending that points drought. Have they scored points this season? I don't know.
Who's that? AlphaTauri?
It's been a struggle for AlphaTauri. You said that at the top of the stream. Yeah, they've not scored points
since Austria round 3 of last season. And by the way,
it's been a struggle.
Those of you who just caught that in stream with me, you would have saw Centrix had a little bit of a tank slapper, lost the rear, and lost 2/10 with it. So this charge to get back up to the top 3 is going to take a little bit more here with the laps winding down. And now with the laps winding down, meanings the time is winding down for Gecko to get past Bonkers and maybe take some places away if he gets overtaken by Centrix. Now, they race here to the final 3 corners with Bonkers. 4/10 now the gap to Owen. It was 5/10 last lap, but now he loses time out of the chicane just to come up short here again to turn 1. Now saving some battery here for the late laps.
And now, I think Bonkers at this point, he is just going to save it for these last 2, maybe even save it for the very last lap. He's got 78% to 60 on Owen. He's just been sitting there collecting all that battery, and eventually he is going to use all of it to get past Owen. And it goes from how much is he going to save to when is he going to deploy it all.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you do in that situation? That's what I wonder as a driver. I've not been out on the track in RPL since the F2 days. You know, obviously F2 no longer a thing, and even before that, it's been a while. So you know, it's really tough to think about how I would go about it. But Polo God struggles continue. He's going to pit, and he spun just a lap ago in this area. So he's hoping to just get to the end and maybe find a fastest lap right and take it away from whoever has it. Current fastest lap runner is Bonkers P2, and we got more yellow flags. That's toward the back of the field. That's Shanghai around, having just a treacherous race. And finally, Centrix is within DRS.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
it's
I have it on
one
race
thing.
leader.
It's one thing
Okay.
catching a driver. It's another thing overtaking them, and that is exactly what Centrix is
Warning
about to
from
find out here.
Centrix. Warning from Centrix. And that little track extend's going to cost them. Just barely missed out on DRS. So, one more lap for him not having it. Just when you thought he had it, you have cursed him and he doesn't have it. So,
Well,
um,
I will say, the big thing I'm noticing here between this top 3, top 4 area, Minions gets by Zatsi, both on soft tires, Shanghai with a penalty. One thing we should mention here is Owen and Bonkers have been saving so much ERS for these last couple laps to mount a charge. Bonkers now using it for just a split second, but someone who has not saved anything is both Gecko and Centrix. They're both below 15% of the battery, while the top 2 runners above 70%.
it's been masterclass from the top 2, just saving their batteries for as long as they can. I haven't seen Owen or Bonkers touch the overtake button in quite a long time here. There's going to be 3 laps to go this time by, and once they cross the line, that's the safety car cutoff. So there's one more sector where a safety car could happen, but odds are it won't, as Bonkers uses just a tiny bit of ERS to stay close.
He's been doing that a lot. He's been using some battery behind Owen just to find some time. You can see now he's finally closer into the triangle. He can't make a move just yet unless he uses a Daniel Ricciardo style. But he does a smart thing, tucks back in behind, waits a little more, and now you can see he'd lose time in that triangle, but he has all the battery to use it finally with DRS. And now here he comes. Owen's going to protect, but you can't protect enough because Bonkers, with that Red Bull straight line speed, takes the lead of the race.
Yep, he saved his ERS and he's still got 68%. He abused quite a bit of that overtake button down the straight. Zetsi getting back past Minions, soft tire versus soft tire. JNT pits, probably going for fastest lap there. But back to the top, Bonkers takes the lead. And will he abuse that overtake button to get out of DRS range?
Yeah, I mean, we've not seen a performance from Zatsi like this
in
Tier 2. Polo God, yep. More struggles for him. No front wing. Well, sorry, end plate broken on that front wing. Pitting is Shanghai and JNT, as you said, and Blue Goggy and Mythic battling it out. But I was going to mention with Zatsi P6, I think this is the highest we've seen of Williams in Tier 2, at least, since I want to say, you know, at least on pace, you in Singapore, that didn't get completed. But the one I remember getting completed, though, was last season's Spain with Trent Racer, P4. So Zatsi, a good run from Williams. Hopefully he holds on here, but with 3 cars hungry behind. But you know what? You mentioned the battery situation here. Bonkers has absolutely obliterated that with the penultimate lap underway in just a couple of moments. He's now on 32% with Owen on 68. So, you know, if we thought it was just Bonkers smooth sailing to the lead, we've got a race now. Owen's dumping it all now. Does he have enough speed to get to turn 1 ahead or side by side? No, he does not.
And here comes Centrix. The dream has ended for... Oh, wait, no, he hasn't gotten them.
Gecko.
So I was about to say, it makes it even worse for Gecko. He's out of DRS now, and it's a straight fight with him as Zatsi loses the spot to Hunted. It's a straight fight in Polo. He is retired in the pits. Maybe he has rear wing damage. Obviously, we know the rules. Can't retire in the pits by yourself. But Gecko, this has gotten so much harder for him to hold on to this podium. They both have no ERS, so it's a straight dogfight between these 2 guys.
Yeah, I mean, Centrix has got the better tire wear. Gecko has slightly better ERS by like 1% or 2, and Gecko has held his defense quite well. We saw right there. I don't know if he moved twice or not. I didn't get to see the full thing, but I saw the end of it. He protected Centrix so well to where Centrix had to back out, but if he can recover well to get this podium, it would be very nice. And if Gecko can hold on the weekend we return to Baku, the last time Alfa Romeo had a podium in any of the tiers, coming from Jack Miles in Tier 1, that would be a good sight to see. And now, just 4 sectors remaining for the race lead. We've got threatening underway between Owen and Bonkers. Owen's the one trying to overtake. Bonkers the one trying to protect.
No ERS
and now,
for Bonkers. This is it. This is
almost
the moment
10%
of the race here.
Owen's on 40. Bonkers about on 10. And here he comes. A last lap charge from Owen to take the race lead back. He's won here already before twice. Now around the outside, he's going to take the race lead. Back out in front, the champion of Tier 2 from many seasons in a row, or let alone you have Owen, the previous Tier 2 champion, back out in front.
He's won the titles with Red Bull. It's time for him to take the reins of the Silver Arrows, or should I say the Black Arrows. Owen on top, but there's still 2 sectors of racing to go here. This is not over for Bonkers just yet. You can see how close he is, and also, we didn't talk about it, Gecko held on to Centrix heading into turn 1. So
J&T had something go on too, by the way. He had stopped on the track right in this area. Bonkers and Owen are going through now. Can Gecko hold on? You got Centrix. Better traction right here. Can he get through? Battery being used. Here we go. Up the lead up in front of that gets close too. But for now, Centrix uses the grass and gets through.
It's still not over. We still have Casio Triangle to go. And he thought about the crossover there. Bonkers using what little he has left, but he doesn't have as much battery as Owen does. Both
Here we go.
Obliterating their overtake buttons, and it all comes down to this. The Casio Triangle. The 27th
Bonkers.
lap. Bonkers
Can't
it's
do
too
it.
late.
It's going to be Owen holding on. He won here for Ferrari in Japan in Season 1, Formula 1 Tier 1. He won the last time here in Tier 2 in Japan for Red Bull, but this time he wins for Mercedes. Side by side photo finish. Gecko holds on for Alfa Romeo to make their first podium of the game cycle. Wow. What a charge. Unbelievable. Zatsy P7 for Williams as well. What an amazing performance. 2 weeks in a row. Holds on the soft tires. No punctures to his name.
Wavy first points.
Returns back to the points since last season. This was a good move as well. Valk held on for P5. Kipu for AlphaTauri. Back in the points for them as well. Blugagi too.
Blugagi gets a point.
His first point since Season 9, the Round 11 finale. If he just hangs on in the stewards room, he'll keep it. Both AlphaTauris, what a day.
So many different stories, so many different people to give driver of the day to.
Wow.
So many people have different cases. You got Gecko, podium in an Alpha, Centrix, last to 4th, Valkyrie, Valk, whatever, from the back to P5, Zatsy, points in a Williams, Minions, he had a nice recovery drive going, and Owen as well, defending off the much faster Red Bull car, and he wins in a fantastic battle that will go down as one of his finest victories.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. Just perfect on the battery. Worse strategy than Gecko. Gecko, the really good defense right there for Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo, one of the bottom 4 cars. And J&T's going to do some donuts for his teammate and come across the line backwards. I would give driver of the day to Gecko. I know Zatsy put in a good performance for Williams. He's my close P2. But, man, Gecko. I mean, just the performance to hang on right there. There's a reason why they hadn't had a podium yet. And now they have the driver to do it. Nice job from them.
I got my close top 2. I'm gonna also give it to Gecko. It absolutely deserved. Number 2 would be Centrix. He had that crash with Hunted at the start, but he did not reflect on that, and he just came all the way back from the back of the grid. So close. He came so close. They were side by side out of the Casio Triangle, and he just barely held on for a fantastic P4 recovery. But I gotta give it to Gecko. What a result for Alfa Romeo, and much deserved for them.
As always, a shout out for AlphaTauri as well, who put in both cars in the points. I'm not going to give him driver of the day. I think Gagi has some penalties coming his way. As for Kipu, really good performance right there. He's also a close runner-up, but not as close as Zatsy and Gecko, who I give my top 2 driver of the day for. What an amazing race there at the end. We saw battles, we saw fights. It was 2 guys there up in the top 4. 2 different battles. I didn't know which one to hang on to, but we knew at the right time who was going to hold on, and we knew both of them held on for the top 4 spots. Here's your final results. Good shout out to Minions as well for Alpine from the back of the grid, showing he still has it too. Valk, who crashed with Invade as well up there. I mean, there's some really good shout outs for so many guys here in this race with what has happened, but take a look at your final results. Owen, Bonkers, the top 2. Bonkers back on the podium. Red Bull back on the podium. Gecko P3. Centrix, Valk, Minion, Zatsy, Kipu, Wavy back in the points, and Blue Gagi. We have the rest of the runners back here 16th to 20th, all DNF'd. So even though that being the case, we still had a lot of those guys put us in some really good action here today.
Oh yeah, so much action there. There was so much to keep track of. I don't
Yeah,
know what
I
to
was like,
say.
Beatnik, you're holding on a little too long here to the final chicane. I'm like, when am I going to get my chance? Man, I knew I had to mention Owen's previous wins here. He's won in a Ferrari in Tier 1. His last ever win there in Season 1. You had the most recent win here in a Red Bull, where he got it on a late restart. And this one, just brilliant defending and brilliant racing from him. And just a strategic masterclass with that battery. He was worse than Bonkers. At one point, he had the upper edge beforehand. Then he got the upper edge once Bonkers absolutely obliterated that thing. And then back out in front was Bonkers. Then Owen took it. And then we had a last lap battle between our race leaders and a last lap battle for the podium, which Gecko is back on.
So many battles. Feels like every time you and I are on comms for a race, it always turns out to be either brilliant or brilliantly shit. So, some flawless driving, couple accidents, but nothing on the lines of Austria last season or 2 seasons ago. Good heavens. Some fantastic driving from so many different drivers. And
you know, it's a good race when it's hard to choose the podium, or not podium. Driver of the day. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Well, we had troubles deciding on the podium until the last corner.
Yeah.
So
Well, I said to you, it's wide open. It is. It was.
And while you were talking about Owen's brilliance, I had to step in with that Casio triangle brilliance by Gecko, defensive masterclass from the lad, and I love seeing him performing at this level. I know he can do it from what he used to do back in the old days of 2021.
Yeah.
And I love to see it.
Well, if you want to see some more action this weekend, we've got racing in Tier 1 in Baku tomorrow for Tier 1. That should be fun. I'll be on comms with Owen, it looks like, and a potential, I'm not going to reveal the name yet. You'll see on Sunday likely, a potential new commentator alongside me for Portugal for Formula Endurance. Those are your races this weekend that are continuing the action for the RPL League. Now, next week, we go to Tier 2 in Singapore for another race in this side of the world that could provide some amazing action. Time will tell if that will be the case. Either way, your two commentators, Ryan Searles, Beatnik714, signing off with tonight's action. We hope you join us for next week and later on this weekend. But until next time, we'll see you then.